Very good morning, everyone. It's so wonderful to have all the panelists under one roof. So thank you very much for being here. Hi, I am Purva Mishra from Extramarks, your facilitator for this particular session. It's my pleasure and honor to welcome all of you to our webinar Elevate series. Now, Extramarks Elevate is a thought leadership series on education technology aimed to serve a platform for educationists, academicians, technocrats, young achievers, and other stakeholders to share their experiences and views on development and trends in the fields of education and technology, what is happening up right now. Being a leading edtech brand, we at Extramarks are very, very proud of a journey of the last 15 years and thankful to our 15,000 plus global schools with whom our journey would not have been this fulfilling at all. So as Extramarks has revolutionized the way education is perceived and delivered, by custom creating learning solutions for the 21st century learners through state-of-the-art technology and empowering teachers with efficient pedagogical methodologies. As Extramarks embarks upon a journey of reinventing approaches towards adaptable, equitable, and access education to all and everyone there. I feel so grateful that today, 17th June, marking our third webinar of Elevate series, where we will be talking about the topic, leveraging technology to enhance classroom experience, which unleashes the power of technology for limitless learning adventure in the classroom. So to kickstart this particular session and share their particular views, where we have Dr. Jaspreet Kaur, an enthusiastic and self-motivated leader with 8 years of experience as vice principal, in addition to 14 years of administrative experience. Her educational philosophy stands on the belief that teaching children is all about adding quality to their lives, to see that their minds are ignited with ideas and to make them trust their own potential. At the helm of educational institution, she carries an obligation to serve the society by nourishing their future. So we welcome you, ma'am, to this wonderful series.
Thank you so much, Apurva. I'm really glad to be here. And a lovely TGM to all. Technological good morning to all in terms of students when we talk about like they have all the short forms coming up. So it is only because of the synchronous learning tool that we all are together today. All the educators are interacting on this topic. So a lovely good morning to one and all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you mentioned, TGM. So joining us as the next person, impossible becomes null when you learn, train, and share. So joining with us on this webinar, we have Mr. Mukesh Kumar, who is a Vice Principal and Head of Department Computer Science, DPS RK Puram, New Delhi. He has got several awards and recognition under his wings. A teacher who makes a different award 2004 by Parents Forum and many more under his name marking, Dr. Mukesh Kumar. We welcome you, sir, to this wonderful series.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for introducing me to the experts from various schools. And today, along with them, I'll be sharing the platform, and it is going to be wonderful. And after pandemic, this is going to be something which is actually required. And we need to share our own experiences in our own schools. and so that we can learn from each other and we can carry forward in a positive manner.
Absolutely, sir. Warm welcome here. Joining here, next person we have Mr. Francis Joseph, representing GEMS Education India region as their executive director, is a renowned educationist with more than 30 years of global and national experience in school management. He was recently organized by the education world as one among the top 25 leaders who are reinventing education in India. He is also a recipient of the Limca Book of Records for achieving the fastest school establishment and admission process in the country. So we welcome you, sir, to this wonderful Elevate series.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be part of this initiative launched by Extramarks, and thanks to Puram for tolerating my words. And great to meet new faces. I've not come across all of you, but you know, I'm basically a teacher, and I'm great to be in this company. Thank you so much.
Welcome, sir. Then we have Mrs. Manchu Subramaniam, Principal of DPS North Bangalore, who's a technology enthusiast and above all, a passionate teacher. Manju ma'am is a recipient of National Award for Teachers by President of India in 2018 and Fulbright Distinguished Award for Teachers in 2014. A wonderful welcome to Elevate series, Manju ma'am. Ma'am, you are on mute. We are not able to hear you. Yes,
Is
now
that
we
better
can.
now? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you, Apurva, for inviting me to this wonderful forum on a Saturday morning. A very interesting topic and very distinguished members on the panel. So lots to learn and lots to share. Thank you so much.
Great, ma'am. A very warm welcome to the series. Then, adding to the panelists, we have Dr. Shweta Venugopal, Managing Director of New Baldwin's Group of Institution, a doctor and a passionate academician with keen interest to innovate and develop an educational system which is upcoming and new technology up in the trend in India. We welcome you, Shweta ma'am.
Good morning, and thank you for such beautiful welcome. I'm really happy to be a part of the Elevate series. And firstly, the name Elevate itself is so positive. So I'm sure that, you know, the talk will be extremely good, and let's elevate the educations on this Saturday morning. Good morning, all.
Absolutely, Shweta ma'am. Thank you very much. Welcome here. Last but not the least, we have with us Director, Extramarks Education, Poonam Singh Jamwal ma'am, who has always believed in inclusive, intuitive, and holistic tech-enabled learning solution, tickling the young learner's curiosity with an immersive approach, measured outcome, and supporting continued learning from school to home in dynamic scenarios has been her passion throughout. She has served the Times of India, leading newspaper in education, and it was under her leadership that TOI witnessed a reader-based shift as she paved the way for the youth niche audience. We have been happy to have her with Extramarks since 2007, which is long back with the advent of Extramarks, which we have started. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Apurva. There are some parts of your life you forget. Only in forums like this, you go on a rewind button. I am very, very happy with the panel that we have put together today. Welcome, everybody. From Mukesh to Shweta, we have two ends of a spectrum of a edtech journey. You know, Mukesh was one of the first movers of edtech, first person who said, why not? And eventually Jaspreet and Francis have played a very, very integral role in the, not just the institutions they have been in or led, but changed absolutely just by, recently we saw this movie, Ek Banda Kafi Hai. And it's so interesting that in this whole journey that I've seen for 30 years, I've realized that Ek Banda Kafi Hai. One person makes all the difference. And they almost give permission to everybody else to experiment and take that leap of faith. And today, in these 30 years journey that EdTech has had in India, we are in that beautiful sweet spot of all the innovation, emotion, pedagogy coming together. And now it has to be a second nature, the way everything else in our life has moved, or the technology has permeated in our lives, right? But that is only possible when the practitioners actually say that how they leverage it to deepen learning and ensure academic excellence within their institutions. So these conversations, like Mukesh said, are critical. And Manju, welcome so much onto this forum, because yours is one institution that has taken that huge leap of faith. And then you are going to lead the march of post-COVID, almost like a new world that we are entering where education is concerned. So I'm so excited and looking forward to this discussion. The floor is to you, Apurva. Now lead the way. Thank you so much. And good morning to everybody, answering all the good mornings.
Thank you very much, ma'am. A warm welcome to this wonderful series. So, the last couple of years, we saw a major shift in the way technology has played this part in the education industry. To dive deep into the discussion, I would like to start with a thought-provoking question, which also made me think about a lot when we were working in COVID and how we were, coordinating with the teachers and how the transition happened. So my first question is to Mr. Mukesh Kumar. So, what emerging technologies or trends do you see as having the most potential to transform the classroom experience?
You must be hearing nowadays a lot of talks about ChatGPT and OpenAI, right? So basically, in times to come, as all the ads flashing on Facebook, Instagram, you must be seeing a lot of people talking about it, and they say that ChatGPT is not going to replace you directly, but yes, the person who is using OpenAI and ChatGPT will replace you. And it is bound to happen. And the same is going to happen with the teachers. Teachers who are not going to use OpenAI platforms will be replaced by those teachers who are going to use OpenAI. Because children are going to use. You can't stop them to use. It is going to happen, bound to happen. And it is a natural flow in which OpenAI will spread all around. A child at the age of 10 years will be able to use OpenAI, and he will not know whether whatever he is getting as a result from OpenAI is right, wrong, or in the right format or not. That is where the teachers are essentially required to learn and help the children to understand that whatever results they will be getting from these kind of tools are not going to be the ultimate and correct results. So they have to be experienced and learn it about all these tools, right? So this is going to happen. So that is what I foresee, that yes, pandemic has taught all the teachers how to use the basic tools like documentation, presentation, tabulation, all these kind of things. Along with, they learned about how to use the Zoom, Meet, and other platforms which allow them to interact on video and chat platforms. But at the same time, in the recent couple of weeks, you must have seen the completely flood of open AI talks have been happening. And there are a number of courses. There are a number of tools. If you just go to Android and look for the Play Store ChatGPT, you will find hundreds of ChatGPT platforms. But when you will download, you come to know that half of them are paid and half of them are not working the way they are supposed to be working. So we have to now start grooming, teaching, and providing enough material to the teachers so that they understand the nuances of these kind of tools.
Sure. Thank you very much, sir, that you have mentioned that we are supposed to empower the teachers primarily of how do you incorporate technology into the day-to-day life, which brings me to the next question. I'd like to head to Dr. Jaspreet Kaur. Ma'am, what are some specific or what are some effective strategies which you think for supporting teachers in integrating technology into their daily practice in the class?
There was some glitch. Can you please repeat the question?
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. So what are some effective strategies for supporting teachers, since we are talking about over here to empower them? So what are some supporting strategies which we can help them in integrating technology into their teaching practice on daily basis?
Okay, so when you talk about the strategies, the apps, the educational apps are very, very prominent these days. And I feel that if you talk about the smart boards, now IFPs have taken over. So interactive flat panels are actually on a boom. And apart from that, I feel that LMS, learning management system, is also required, which is equally important for the entire analysis of the child to be done. Then personalized learning is equally important these days. And with the technology and with the change in the technology, we feel now that is possible. The challenges that we were facing, now we have n number of options with us that can be taken up. Then the latest, which I feel is the AR and the VR, the augmented and the virtual reality programs that can help us improvise. And apart from that, the mixed MR that children are very often using via the Snapchat and the Insta filters. So I think the strategies, the app-based studies, the smart classes, these are very, very helpful for the students in the recent education system. And that is actually bridging up the gap between the teacher and the student. Because it is not the same time wherein the teacher enters and 40 minutes lecture and then moves out when the bell rings. It is, the technology has basically helped us bridge the gap, and teacher is no longer taken up as a teacher. She's a mentor who's helping the children learn. So I think this is very, very important. And this recently there was some article I was reading which said that by 2028, there would be a pedestal growth, I think CAGR, 19.9% pedestal growth would be seen by 2028. So in the technological reformation, and even CBSE is moving ahead with the same. So I think we are on the on such a side wherein definitely what we did when we were student and now what children would be learning, there is a drastic change, and there would be skill-based enhancement that we are talking about these days. Thank you.
Absolutely, ma'am. You have, rightly mentioned that LMS, IFP, these are the, technologies which we are using, which brings me to, as a highlight, one of the things. So when we are talking about these technology, I am very sure there are certain challenges also, right? Which I'll be leading to the next question to Shweta Venugopal, ma'am. So when we talk about here, ma'am, so ma'am was mentioning about LMS, ma'am was talking about AR and, AV, that these are the certain things we should amalgamate in the classes. So there are certain challenges also, certain barriers that the teachers may face when we are incorporating technology in the classroom, right? Could be there certain things are not working out, or maybe they are not helping them in the right way. So how can these challenges be overcome?
Okay, this is a very beautiful question, Apurva. Whenever we take up any change or when we try to implement something, when we say that we're going to implement technology, it sounds very exciting. So, they tell, we can have flat panels here, we can have an interactive flat panels, we are going to have attendance, which is going to be online, everything is going to be online, it's all going to be perfect. But very few people actually think about what practical issues we have here. And when we talk about practical issues, the issues should again be departmentalized, as in what practical issues the school will have, as in logistics, statistics, and what issues the teacher will have, as in, learning and trying to execute, and what drawbacks the students will have, as in, are they going to become a little bit more, late, much more relaxed. So these in rough are the three things that we have to cover. So now you are asking me with regards to teachers, right? Apurva, teaching is something that we've started from ages, and in India, especially, we call the Gurukul system. So if you have to, start like from the Gurukul system, you need to it's a big leap that we have to reach for technology integrated teaching. So what again I'm telling is integrated teaching. I'm still not swapping over completely technology teaching. Okay. So we are in the mid phase now. So at this point of time, when I'm talking about this, teachers, not everyone are aware as to what tools are itself present. I'm not blaming our teachers. We are used to and we're very much comfortable in the way that we've lived for the past centuries. Yeah. So now when you have to get that change, there's going to be a drastic, workshops that we have to conduct to teachers. How many of them can start adapting this? See, when I say adapting, the teachers who are going to pass out now, I mean, the BEd teachers who are going to pass out now, they're very good at handling, they'll be able to. Now we already have a portion of existing teachers. How many of them do you think will be able to adjust to this? And will the school also provide one teacher who's just going to teach and one teacher who's going to only teach the technology of it? That is another thing. How much of acceptance do these existing teachers have to accept that and teach? So this requires a 360-degree holistic, working on the teachers. One is we give them workshop. One is we have to constantly motivate them. One is once they move forward, they're going to fall back. So we need to keep pushing them. We need to give them tools which are going to be very, very user-friendly for the existing teachers. And when we talk about schools, like on behalf, like on the manager level, we are in India, okay, it's an economical country. So if you tell the panels are going to be 2 lakhs per panel, where the school fees itself will not be 2 lakhs in most of the schools in India. So how are we going to go further? Are we going to start inventing something which is going to be very, very reasonable and every classroom can have it? Or will the government also, pitch in for especially government schools to provide this? So the cost is something that we should definitely have a serious thought. So even if bigger schools, when you say the panels are this expensive, they start thinking whether it is fine or is it a good investment or should I invest on this? So economical brunt is another thing. And when you come to students, so what happens is right now I make them write and read, listen and read, listen to your colleagues, have a group discussion, read. And we also have an hybrid methodologies where we show them videos. We do have smart classrooms. So where we are trying to integrate, but slowly if the technology is going to take over, are we going to kill the creativity or the imagination of the children? So especially when you talk about virtual reality, I mean, you're not letting your brains go beyond something that is already visualized. So the whole point when we are teaching in the classes, we are trying to stimulate children's brain to go beyond their normal thinking. So when you start stimulating over the phase or over the time, they start thinking something of their own. And when they come up with something beautiful, these are the children who are going to become scientists, who are going to come up with something beautiful, something innovative. Are we also, putting a stop somewhere for the creativity? But having said this, should we not do technology? We should do. These are all the drawbacks that we can, start working on when we want to get a bigger change in educational field. These are the fronts that we have to think. So what I tell is, technology is like a weapon. We need to use it where we have to use it. A knife in a surgeon's hand can save a life, but a knife in people who are not trained can kill a life. So I think it's a weapon that we have to strategize where to use, when to use, how can we train and give the children how to use. So these are some things that we have to think holistically, and we have to, look into the drawbacks.
So
Apurva.
Apurva, can I say a word, please?
Yes, ma'am, please.
So today Shweta spoke the way a LAT school speak to us every day for the last 30 years. Okay, yet without realizing, our audience, our users, you have changed.
Yes.
And that the things you thought was huge in terms of adopting technology, you cannot live without it.
True, true,
So
true.
I really feel that the vision or a mission of an educationist, education system, a society is that its citizens deeply understand concepts, at end of the day have a good foundation to be able to be creative. 80% of our time is spent on building the foundation repetitively, wasting human resource in the classroom into what can be learned self through great technology use, and give them time to be creative. So you have to see that what technology does takes the repetitive facts of learning. Like I learned gravitational force, you learned gravitational force. You learned about, you are like 20 years younger to me. And you learned about Panipat War. My grandchild is learning about it, right? So these are repetitive concepts available to a child. We might introduce it in class 10, but it is available to class 4 child who's interested in it. So when we use technology to put concepts and facts in one place, easy to comprehend without requirement of intervention of an adult, and then start focusing on training that how does adult intervene to guide them in the new world that they're exposed to, the way Mukesh was saying, perhaps address ChatGPT, take them to open forums like Jaspreet was saying. Can we tell them how to handle that? Because children are exposed to it. And then how do they handle that? And how do they leverage that for creativity? Because your understanding is great, right? Obviously, we need them to be creative. But if you really step back and look at a classroom, we are repeating what is available in a book.
True, true.
Right. So I think when all of us sit together, we actually step back and see what is practical. Technology is not the board at all. I'm telling you today, we can actually bring technology on a wall. Take a projector, put it on a wall. Don't get a LED projector there. But what runs in the content? What is the pedagogical depth? What is the testing facility? What are the interventions? Is it in the software? And child should get his own device, right? That's cheap for you. So with leadership, what happens is a lot of people will come and take you to that mind, because that is how they are comfortable, the way you said.
Mm-hmm.
And their voice is louder.
Correct.
But the percentage of new B.Ed students without training of technology in the classroom, by just sheer living in the world of technology, are bringing that know-how into your school, the younger teachers. But now we have to go back to a training programs and reprogram them.
Yes.
That is where our work comes. So sorry to interfere, but that's why the conversation, right? And what you said was so precise and right. And if we handle it piece by piece and actually introspect that, how do I do it in my school? Can I have a better way of doing it? Is how we share it. So thanks for setting context of today's conversation. It really helps.
Thank you, Puram.
Apurva.
Thank you, ma'am, for adding such a valuable insight, as ma'am has mentioned, that there is always a gap, right? There are certain, as ma'am was also mentioning, there are certain existing teachers and there are certain new teachers who are bringing all these new ideas. Now, when we sit or to talk about the new teachers who are coming across, there are two value system which we are bringing up in the school, right? So, which leads me to my next question to Mr. Francis, where how we, since the new teachers are going to bring the technology with them, as ma'am was mentioning, that they are more tech savvy, they are more aware about how to use these new things which are coming up in the market. So how can technology be used in facilitating the learning experience of the student, and how different learning styles of the students as well as the teacher, different teaching styles as well, can be accommodated in the classroom?
I think our children, all are learners, be it teachers or students or parents, because finally all are learners, right, including parents. They all today, in my view, live in a cloud, right? They might be sitting next to you, but they are not next to you. To be very frank, they are in the cloud. So when I look at people, when they travel, when they teach, when they, it's always on the cloud. I think we have to prepare our schools to also go to the cloud. We sometimes try to shuttle between earth and cloud, and finally, so that connect is always missing. So I think teachers have to ensure that how do you reach to those children, right? We teach our children how to survive in a society in earth, but we do not teach them how to survive in the cloud. It's a big disconnect in my view. And I think teachers have to learn the new world, right? The rules of the game have changed. Trust me. I was happy when I heard Mukesh, because he's also a computer teacher, started his career. I've also started a career as a computer teacher. And I remember I was the most popular teacher, not because of my teaching style or anything, just because I was a computer teacher then, right? I'm talking about 90s. We used to teach logo, basic. That's how we started our journey. But that at that time, it was not available to them so closely, right? They had to wait for the computer lab to open. But now, see, the scene has changed, right? They're so fast forward. Plus, we are seeing how, I mean, yesterday I was hearing that the human implant was announced by Elon. He mentioned that there will be a Neuralink human implant which will be made maybe by the end of the year. I don't know, where are we heading, right? I think every day we have to start thinking, what is the scenario today, right? No one in this world can guess what is going to come up tomorrow. That's what I feel, right? We have seen Chat GPT, all the stuff. I mean, all these questions can be answered more appropriately by Chat GPT than right? Because I mean, I was just running through the theme of your thing, and I put on Chat GPT, and I got amazing wisdom coming out of it. So I think, but no one knows what's coming. Neither the teachers know, we don't know. I think teachers have to just remain connected to how the world is moving, right? And unfortunately, we took a lot of time as schools. I've seen, how much time we took to evolve with technology. A lot of time. We were the last to embrace technology. Industries were way ahead of us. And I think this time we should not be. We still get I sometimes feel very bad when still people have conversations about, how difficult it is to embrace technology and, the old and the new. I think, like I mentioned, the rules have changed. If you cannot handle this new child, you better be out of it because you cannot handle it. I mean, you can be the best person, but if you do not match to the learner, you are doing more harm than doing good. So I'm sorry I was very vocal, but I think the rules have changed and we have to adapt to the new rules of the game. I don't know whether I
But
sounded.
Francis, do you think that everyday running of a school also is the everyday challenge? Like school leaders like Shweta have to deal with it minute to minute. And when they're bringing change, they also have to finish curriculum. They also have to have
I
that.
think that's all in the box, and we have to challenge ourselves and break the box.
Yeah.
Right. As educationists,
So that's
right?
why the leadership is what the word one uses, because leaders have to fight.
You have to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Challenge every norm of yours, right? Don't rest. I mean, even when the policy talks certain things, not necessarily you should restrict yourself to the policy, right? Think about how you can disrupt more, which can, because see, local context and local perspective is so important. Today, people don't teach how to respect each other's perspective. We are still stuck when what to be taught in an NCRT curriculum. And children, I don't know whether they really read all what is written in the text, right? Because they're far ahead. But as the adults, we are fighting, oh, this is covered, this is not covered. Now, children are far behind. I checked with some students, does it really matter to you? I said, no, we are learning anyway, right? You put, but sometimes as adults, we don't realize we're so disconnected from this,
I
Of course,
believe
this is informal quote, okay? Don't talk about NCRT. It's a very controversial thing.
No. It is, see, to a great extent, you have to give, it's like adults of the society, we have to give foundational knowledge. There should be two ways about it. Only on that, then the journey of exploration of knowledge can begin. There are tools for it.
Perspectives. See, everyone looks from their perspective, right? You teach whatever, but if it suits my perspective, my context, I will absorb it.
Yeah.
It's like sponge, right? If otherwise, people just reject as a learner.
True.
I believe Mukesh sir wants to contribute something. Yes, sir. So you're on mute.
I think we should all say that if you don't learn the way I teach, I should teach the way you learn. So that is what our aim is, not to transfer our knowledge to them. Knowledge transferring model has gone obsolete now, right? Knowledge they can gain from Google, knowledge they can gain from any source. They have mobile phones today, they can collect any kind of knowledge much more than what you can do. It is just that you have to play a role as a teacher. You just find out what is needed right now in the classroom. That should be the thing. And we should be the policy makers. For example, they have a lot of knowledge, but they don't know how to use, where to use, and how much to use. So that is where the teacher's role is there. It is not necessary if you are a physics teacher, you have to teach only physics in the classroom now. If you are a computer science teacher, you have to teach only computer science in the class right now. As a teacher, you have experience, add that experience in the classroom so that it is enriched. The child's level moves up. Yeah. That should be the aim.
So the wisdom, adult wisdom has to be transferred, not the knowledge that is accessible to the child.
Yes.
Basically that. Yeah.
Yes, Shweta ma'am, please.
So I rightly agree with what Mukesh sir said. You know, like when we are trying to do anything as in like teacher or any leaders. So when I want to do something, I should always have an objective. Yeah. So may this technology or in any sort of processes in daily life. See, the objective here, what Mukesh sir was telling is the objective is to transfer your wisdom here. So the technology should be as an aid to transfer this wisdom in a much accessible way. He's telling, if you don't understand the way I teach, I will teach you the way you want to be understood or you can understand. So here we are going to use technology here so that my knowledge, my wisdom, his career, his future is going to, this technology will help me much faster, much easier, because his brains are also at that level at now. So we use technology, sync him, and I reach the objective. So I rightly agree with Mukesh sir. So without objective, if you're going to work, it's like we're walking on, a blind man walking on a map. It's going to be like that. So I think you set an objective for Elevate, also for technology also, Mukesh sir.
Very good.
I did not raise my hand because I realized that Manju is yet to speak.
Yes, I was
I lowered my hand.
Yes, ma'am. I was about to come to Manju, ma'am. So, Jaspreet, ma'am, I'll get back to you after this. That's okay? Sure, ma'am. Thank you very much. So, since everybody was talking, and I believe it's a wonderful line which sir has mentioned, that nowadays teachers have to understand that at what level I need to change to make the kids understand, and what innovative and what new effective ways I can bring so that we can be at the same pace, right? As ma'am was also mentioning, everything is available at your fingertips. Whatever you want, you can directly go get it. But though, how to use that knowledge or how to use that is where the teachers come in as an experience, as a person who gives you, who modulate it for you. So coming to Manju ma'am, my question to you here, ma'am, is what are, you think, some successful examples of using technology to create that interactive and immersive learning experience in the class? Since we all have given our different versions of it, I would love to hear your side of it, ma'am.
Thank you, Apurva. Thank you, Mr. Francis. I'd like to go right from the beginning. One, I don't think teachers anymore are, scared or fearful of technology anymore. The pandemic put those fears to rest. If we were the last to embrace, we were the fastest to embrace in a year, in a few weeks. I think teachers across the globe took to technology like fish to water, and learning did not stop, although schools had to be shut down. So I think the concept that teachers are resistant to technology is something of the past. Teachers have become, more inclined towards lifelong learning, and they understand that technology is assistive. It is not to replace them, but to complement their teaching in the classroom, and to make the education platform much more equitable. Technology is a great leveler. It brings everybody with a handheld device, with almost all children across the globe having a mobile device of some kind. Learning happened in the pandemic, and it could happen at their own pace. It could happen at their own time. It could happen at their own convenience of choosing courses. The possibilities are limitless. And I think this is what teachers are acknowledging. And, something like the National Institute of Open Schooling was doing this for a very long time. It used to be called open distance learning, but today it's a reality. If I were to look at capacity building, because we kept asking, what can we do to help teachers? So earlier teacher training was just offline, and teachers would have to travel from their homes to different parts of the city or the country, hours together on travel, and then come back, miss a day of school, and train. During the pandemic, everything went online. You could have your kitchen cooker going off and you were teaching, and the next minute you were also learning, right? To a time when we've come back and said, let's do blended learning. Let me do, a big course online, and then let me go back to experts and my cohort to discuss and deliberate and find suitable answers to questions that are still question mark. I need more clarity. So blended learnings come to stay. Teachers are practicing flipped classroom. They're making their post-pandemic. They don't want to use technology in the classroom, but they want children to use technology at home, saying,
True.
why don't you read up and research and come back so that in the classroom, we can be collaborative learners, right? So that is happening. There is more of hybrid. I mean, suddenly the prime minister is coming into the city, traffic is closed, children cannot come to school. And so while some of the teachers are teaching in the classroom and there are 10 children from the neighborhood can come, the rest of the class is still learning from home. And that is what teachers have adapted to. When the chat GPT concept, it doesn't, it doesn't really go with me, because I think when Google came and you gave assignments to children, there were children who wrote on their own, and there were children who cut and paste from Google, and there were children who took ideas from Google but wrote on their own. Now, it depends on the ability of the teacher and her assessment rubrics to decide where is it. Did the teacher use Turnitin to see what level of plagiarism was used? Question mark, right? So these
Yes, I believe there is internet
But I
glitch
also,
from my
when
side.
you
Yes.
mentioned chat GPT, my biggest red flag was plagiarism. But you know how it's not the technology that is evolving, but our morality around education might also change. To me, I am a great believer of open book test, because I am not testing him about what is in the book, but I am testing him for the application of knowledge in the book. Because end of the day, our purpose, the way Shweta said, we should be very clear about objective. My objective is not how much of book is inside him. My objective is he a problem solver? So redefining within schools and teachers, what is your objective of teaching? And then you align your tools, your teaching, everything to that objective. Or policy makers for that matter, Francis. What is the objective? Look at your computer books. They just still tell you where is the enter button. And you ask a 4-year-old.
Can I give an instance of, I remember during the pandemic, there was an XYZ company which signed an MOU with the state government. I don't want to name both. And so I was in touch with both, right? And I realized that, they signed a big MOU and they were launching and they did a training. And for the first training, almost 2 lakh people attended, right? Because people come, attend. And then after 2 months, when I spoke to them, right, I realized that it's absolutely left to only few individuals who are actually doing it. So what's happening is technology can never be forced, right? You have to imbibe it. You have to, if you tell people to use technology, they will, it cannot happen. Technology is not something which you can just like stick onto you. It's an environment, right? It's an enabling environment, because it allows you as a school or as a teacher to get to know more about the child. If Google has the right to know everything about us, a teacher has got a right to know everything about this child. It's so personalized. Google has got so much personalized happening. They know I'm talking to you right now. They know where am I. They know what do I buy. They know everything about me. As teachers, we have to reach that. I think that's a role model.
So the point here was enablement. You get it?
Yeah.
Whatever as a visionary leader, we feel that this is what my teacher should do, right? What am I doing to enable her? Am I making my institution Wi-Fi without fear? Am I actually allowing them to bring their own devices? We have to bring that fearlessness. Once we bring that fearlessness, then we will teach them how to walk on the road called web. We teach them how to go drive on the road outside, right? So we can't shut them in the house and say, you can't go out because so many vehicles are on the road. We have to tell them, okay, we are opening the roads for you. Now we'll tell you what are the rules to go on the road, what is good, what is right, what is left. But if we shut them in the schools and don't open out the roads, then we can wish And we'll never come to a point when we will actually make the teacher the Google of the child. Or Guru Parampara you talk about, we have arrived there. We can actually bring the same level of precision today with using the platforms for teaching, assessments, gap intervention. We are there. So objective is what we need to define. Yes, Shweta.
Absolutely, ma'am. Shweta ma'am wants to contribute something. Yes, ma'am.
I always admire at Poonam ma'am's, insights and her perception. Usually whenever I listen to you, actually, now what you said is like, if we have to contain the child in the room, we are not containing them. We are telling them, you go outside, you explore. So this is what I was trying to tell you, So when we know what is going to go wrong, when you cover those gaps, you can fearlessly ask them to explore. So when I used to go to surgeries, my senior surgeons used to tell, know what worst can happen, be prepared for that, then you're prepared for the surgery. So when you know what challenges are there, when you close these challenges, then you're rest assured that things can go well. So I think, we should, when we talk about putting some process, we should also know how to protect our processes.
Absolutely.
So as in a leader, when I see day to day how things are going to, going further, let's just, cover the gap so that whatever process we want to put into, we can enjoy the results of that. And we can see, yes, our effort, we can see our efforts, we can see our children enjoying, our teacher enjoying. And of course, as leaders, we also enjoy the process.
Yeah, very right. Very nicely put. If you preempt and visualize the possibility, you protect that and then open out everything. The many years ago, Mukesh went all out. They put enterprise line in DPS RK Puram. The first thing that they insisted upon was those nanny softwares.
Oh, wow.
Right. So that's so that there is a freedom, yet there is protection in your enterprise. So these conversations of practitioners like, Mukesh or Jaspreet or Francis happens is they have gone through the grind of introducing and whatever came as a backlash and how they protected the institution. So these conversations will also tell us how, rather than these things becoming the big thing. The big thing should be what we adopt. But we have to open the roads and find what are the protection measures, basically.
Absolutely correct, ma'am. Yes, Manju ma'am, please.
I'm sorry, technology gave me a little trouble and I had to switch between options. But coming from my experience, we've been using technology in the school for more than 20 years of the 22 years of the school's existence. And I come from an inclusive space. Every 1 in 10 children is special needs here. And we found technology to be extremely useful as a personalized education tool. There are children who are on the autism spectrum and the clutter of the classroom is very distracting to them, right? And they prefer that space where they can listen to their teacher one-on-one with their parent and gather so much more. And we found that post-pandemic, their performance increased to a huge extent that we've allowed them to spend part-time in schools where they have social interaction and part-time at home so that they can learn with the parent and the teacher on a one-on-one basis. It is a great tool when you want to do collaborative learning and critical thinking. I mean, with all the Google applications that we have. Yesterday, we had a session for a prefectorial board and ChatGPT always comes up as a question. And my students said, why can't ChatGPT be used to ride on our we need to build on our creativity riding on ChatGPT, exactly like what Mr. Francis said. And Mr. Mukesh said, why do we need to reinvent the wheel? Let's go back, let's use ChatGPT and then put that personal creativity on top to make a musical or a performance or an essay that is exceptional. And so I think technology is a great leveler. It reaches out to everybody. It is personalized. It is adaptive. So all these differentiated instruction, we keep talking about differentiated instruction. It is so difficult for a teacher in a classroom to have differentiated instruction for her 40. But your program does that. It looks at you, it lets you solve a question. If you can't solve it, it will give you a video to recheck it and then go and solve it. And then it takes you to the next level. What more? It is so beautiful. I think, like Ms. Jamwal said, teachers love technology. I believe teachers love technology. And the ones who teach then cascade that effect in that way. And then it becomes a culture of a school.
Yeah. And also, you know, in reality, I want to take the 40 minutes of the classroom, and hand it over to those 40 children and that teacher, hand it over, free time, think, talk. But whatever you have to learn, go look at this chapter at home. I have this trick thing that I do with some classes, that the only thing that children want to do is have one-upmanship on their teacher. She does nowadays more so that she doesn't even know this. So you play on that emotion and tell them, look at this chapter, go back home and read it. Now, in a digital format, it's very easy to understand with graphics, and it takes you 10 minutes to really know the whole chapter. Then you jot down 5 questions that you would like to ask your teacher the next day. Okay, so imagine 40 children come with 5 questions and walk into the class, and they are in that thing, I'm going to catch her, right? And the teacher is not teaching the chapter. She's just standing there and they're shooting questions. Now, when the first child asks you 5 questions from the chapter, so 5 questions that might have popped in 40 children's head get solved. But there is a discussion on it. And then every child, when he puts his question, the repeated questions get eliminated. Only unique questions come up. And imagine the use of those 40 minutes. And everybody's so happy, and they see we caught the teacher. She did not know what she does not know. She should just switch on that module and say, hey, I don't know. So this is what it is, right? Imagine just by using the technology, right, you make your class so vibrant. And at a leadership level, we change the teaching plan. Same tools, same children, same 40 minutes. Magic.
Also, I think Poonam also, it requires that boldness for a teacher to say that teacher doesn't know, right? I've gone through this situation where once, when I used to teach years back, student asked me a question. I don't know what question it is now, but I was like, Jack, right? I don't know how to answer it. That time, if you say you don't know, of course, I found my way out of it, saying that, okay, come on, this is for the class to decide, and come back and let's answer this question next class. So I had to go quickly and find out an answer for it.
But
today,
now
I
you
think
do
our
have to go
boldness,
back, no?
yeah. So now the scenario has changed, right? Now but there are teachers who also, and students also appreciate when a teacher says that, I think we'll have to join.
Yeah. You break so many barriers with your learner by admitting. Like Manju said, she just said that it's the culture.
Yeah.
It begins.
And students understand that. If you say that you know it all, that means you know nothing. Right? It's impossible. I mean, Mukesh, you wanted to? Manju, Mukesh.
Manju ma'am wants to contribute something.
I just wanted to add something on top of all this. All of us should make some ground lines. For example, India has come out with IT policy very later, but is very strong, and a lot of things are there. People are not aware, but it is very strong policy of IT in India. At the same time, in school also, all of us have to sit together and put our thoughts on what kind of experiences we have on technology, and especially the computer science teachers, and they should call some people from outside and make policy in the school. So these are right and these are wrong. It is very important, because In spite, technology is bound to be there. We have to put our roadmap ahead. What is going to be acceptable, what is not going to be acceptable has to be put in black and white on our almanacs, on our websites, on our all forums of the schools, so that they do not use technology in wrong.
Absolutely, sir. Manju ma'am, would you like to add some?
Yes, Apurva, I wanted to say three things. One is till before the pandemic, I taught a whole course of class 12 biology, and I would finish my syllabus by August just because I use technology, right? I would take one video and I taught on Facebook. Our group worked on Facebook, and by that evening, I would have 40 more relevant videos on that subject. So we created resource for the whole school. Not only did we do, but if 40 children, I sent a video, 40 other videos would come up. So huge resource. Technology can build resource, right? Second is we are in an era where we need documentation. We need to analyze documents, and we need to work on the data for improvement. Technology helps you do that so easily. The third, I feel, is AI is based on data, and data that is unbiased. And therefore, if the education system across the length and breadth of the country, from rural schools to city schools to inclusive schools to special ed schools, if they all put in their data, there is some way of collection of that data, and then AI can probably come up with solutions for the world, because India is going to be a world player post 2030 in education. The kind of unbiased data that can come for learning would be tremendous.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I want to add here, I don't know whether you've heard of something known as Vidya Samiksha Kendra, which was started in Gujarat. It's been running for last 2 years. Recently, I think 6 to 8 months back, it was inaugurated by the Prime Minister. It gets all the data from all Gujarat schools, the government schools, and they've got a whole structure only analyzing. But my worry there also is, right, not especially about the Kendra, but when I work in the government system, I see that everyone is only running after data, right? And then, you are so lost. So when a teacher comes to a school classroom, she's only worried about capturing data, not about teaching. Right? So that is a worry, right?
So,
Don't get so much into data that you forget what is the basic principle of teaching and learning. Yeah.
I would like to say something here. This is also a shift. Data collation has to be organic for it to be real.
Yes.
I should not be filling data. I should be living my everyday life, and data should be captured. So Extramarks, if right now, has moved everything online. And everything that is happening in the classroom, we are evolving on a go. And then suppose I have 10 million students, all of them are doing their natural study, their response, their questions, the classrooms, the teachers are using it naturally. In some time, we will know how to intervene, help, and evolve along with the teachers and learners. The learning content itself should be so organic that it is effective in the classroom. Right? The way Manju is saying, we need to take the fear out of it and start living it every day. And data will get captured. When you artificially start capturing data, you do not give real-time solutions. And then you don't imagine I have 100,000 teachers every morning using my solution. And imagine all of them contribute the thought of the best way to teach or new experiments that are happening. Imagine what it will do to India. So I think all of you who are talking here are in that position of the front runners who are going to run this wheel. We have been working in silos. Now all of us need to be connected for change. Very, very critical. So that is why the conversation as to how do we do that.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Jaspreet ma'am, since ma'am, Poonam ma'am, Manju ma'am have been talking about that, how technology has been playing and how in their day-to-day life they have been adding up and what all changes they have been able to see. So what are your views or what are your take onto the same, ma'am?
See, Apurva, I totally agree, and it was a very, very fruitful discussion that we had today. I feel that since we all are using the content, the digital content, so I feel that has to be looking at the present scenario and what we are talking about, the inclusiveness. So the content should be up to the mark and should match up with the learning outcomes. No doubt, the role of teacher is the utmost important, and she has actually tried to bridge up that gap, but then like the challenges, as we were talking about, the challenges are still there. So the content that we try to give it to the children now should be such that would try and take up the learning outcomes that we are talking about, and the inclusive nature, it should be updated timely. So if we on this platform, if we talk about the digitalization and we talk about taking technology to a height, then I think it should be a proper blend of all the things that we are using to make to talk about the proper holistic development of every child. So I think it is the educational technology that can automate the process, it can improve the information access, and it can enable the sharing of the knowledge and data. So curate important knowledge also for us, help us communicate, visualize. And I think if this is taken up, the collaborative learning that we talk about, the 21st century skills and all, the collaborative learning process will definitely enhance. So I feel that let's all adapt it wisely and utilize it max. Thank you.
Absolutely, ma'am, rightly mentioned. Shweta, ma'am, would you like to contribute, please?
Definitely. I like the word Madam used, automate, because we should definitely go with the technology, because people say from the taxi drivers to the grocery shops or the medical shops or the hospitals, everything is becoming technology enabled. So when as a school, we are producing children who are
Ma'am, you're on mute. Yes.
So we are producing children who are going to be out in the society. So we have to produce children who are enabled to live in the society, and definitely not the future. I mean, the present is itself technology. So when Madam told automate the process, the best thing I like about most of the assessment tools in this platform is they when you're assessing a children, they automate where your child is. Supposingly he's at the level of 80 to 90%, so automatically the questions will go up. So the process will already give you the questions where he'll be able to answer 90 to 100 marks. So if my child is 50 to 60, so automatically, the AI, the artificial intelligence probably imbibed in that, will pick up where the child is and it starts automating the process. So in that way, see, it is highly impossible for a teacher to prepare 40 types of question papers. But in imbibing this technology, it automates the process, and it's actually elevating the child from the level the child is present now to the next level. So technology definitely aids us to rise up, and we from the school management or the education line, we should definitely start encouraging. And it is going to be the present, so we have to start enabling us to start using technology with ease.
Ease is if we bring ease in the teacher's life, she will automatically take it.
True.
And see, I don't see any teacher in any class who doesn't want the child to do well.
Definitely.
But she's constrained by time and curriculum, extracurricular activities. But moment she sees that every child, if he's done a unique test and that intervention comes there and then, test doesn't remain test. It becomes a learning tool. And end of the day, test should be a learning tool.
Definitely.
Not a judgment tool. And that is a big change. Right? So we have to take technology from the view of our vision as educationists when we decided to be teachers. What did we want to do? And then how technology enables me to be nearest to my vision of myself as a teacher. And that is where leadership comes. They don't say, now we are going to introduce technology. They tell the ease of use and then take them to their mission as teachers. And then automatically the adoption will happen.
Absolutely, ma'am. It was a wonderful session, a lot of insights. It was so much which I could have never get through Google for sure, right? So too much coming from different people, different insights, different versions of it, which I believe all the attendees that we have would have absolutely loved it. So I am asking all the attendees to keep an open forum to ask your questions to our panelists here. So by the time everybody is putting their question, last one thing which I like to ask all the panelists in one line, right? So in one particular line, if I ask, what is your piece of advice for educators looking to leverage technology to enhance the classroom experience? We will start with Mukesh first.
I will say never be scared of technology. Because
Great,
it is bound to be there, and we have to keep on learning and keep on helping children to learn.
Great. Thank you very much, sir. Never be scared of technology. Absolutely. Manju, ma'am?
My one line would be judicious and ethical use of technology to create an inclusive, happy learning classroom.
Thank you very much, Manju, ma'am. Jaspreet, ma'am?
Each day is a new experience. And every new change that is coming up, there would be some hindrances, but then we have to accept it. So let's accept the changes that are coming up.
Great. Thank you, Jaspreet, ma'am. Francis, sir?
It's more survival of the fittest, right? So if you have technology, you survive, right? Or you'll be redundant. So, and also I feel that technology and teaching is like teach knowledge, right? So I think we need to, when we use technology, we should coin the word teach knowledge, which is teach knowledge. You know, that's my
Great, sir. Very, very rightly said. Thank you. Shweta, ma'am?
So I like the survival fittest thing. Definitely, it is the need of the hour. We have to go with technology. But like how Mukesh sir also told, let's not make it look scary. So let's have this process. It's a process. Let's build a culture. Let's make it feel like it's at the ease, and let's anchor ourselves with an objective.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you very much for this wonderful insight. We'll go to Poonam, ma'am, now.
I learned a lot today. So my one word would be to always be the student.
Absolutely, ma'am. That is for lifelong. Thank you very much. Now, we have certain questions available with us. I like to start with Mukesh, sir. So the first question which they have asked over here, how are the three domains of learning could be embedded in technology-oriented curriculum?
How the three
domains of learning which could be embedded, or what are the domains of learning could be embedded in technology-oriented curriculum?
Actually, it always depends on the need and the classroom situation and topic. All these three things are important because every subject and every topic has its own way of dealing with it, right? So it is not one way which is going to work, because we talk about blending of learning now. So we don't talk about a single method will definitely work, right? So they have to keep on emerging with time, right? So I might be teaching my digestive system in biology class differently, and you might be teaching it differently, because your concepts and my concepts are little differently explained, right? So whatever works well and whatever you think in the classroom is delivered well and understood well, that should be the key for delivering in the classroom, right? So first of all, they have to be confident about whatever tool they are using. They should be confident about whatever expressions, whether they are using normal board or digital board or whatever they are using, that should be understood that the children are learning with that. If children are not learning, whatever tools you use, best of the tools you use is waste.
Rightly mentioned, sir, that it has to be done both the ways, from the school as well as from the student side as well, which also leads me to another question, which I like to ask Francis, sir. So this question says, what will happen if few schools are still using the old method of chalk and blackboard, still for teaching in the age of technology and AI?
I think is the balance we have to find as education tools, right? I think nothing can be, I mean, many of the practices where when we were children and our parents used to tell, right, we see more relevance that today. So never kill anything without, never kill any old practices. I think we need to find a balance, right? There's no harm in having a small blackboard. The sizes could vary, right? You will have an electronic blackboard also coming in. But I think don't lose it because you don't know how technology evolves, right? I know Poonam might have a different answer, but let me tell you, I don't know how technology moves, right? So you can't say how maybe a blackboard could be better used using technology. It will come.
I have a very simple simile for this, okay? So you have to go from A point to B point. So you can call Uber, you can take out your car, you can get a rig, or you can walk. But you have to reach that destination. And you can decide what you want to do, either of them. Now, is the destination the point or the technology the point? Because Uber, you need to use the app. For yourself, you don't need to use the app, but you know where you have to go. What is most efficient and effective is what you're going to pick. And the rig guy in some time is coming on the app, by the way. Or auto rickshaws are there. The cycle rickshaws will come.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but as a driver also, you need an app. You need Google.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is you have to see where is technology is towards your destination. The mode you use is your choice. Even to reach that mode, you need technology. So technology has many layers in its existence. But you should be clear of the objective you want to be.
Number of times it is not the teacher who can decide everything, because if the technology is not in the classroom, it is not the teacher's fault, because it is the school's infrastructure problem. So, but every teacher has the mobile phone, every teacher has some tool with him. And I have seen the teachers who are not having anything in the classroom still using technology in the classroom. I don't know how wonderfully they use it. And I have seen the government school teachers having nothing in the classroom and they are using technology in the classroom. So nowadays, there are plenty of ways. If you don't have infrastructure, then also you can create infrastructure of your own. Right? So don't depend on too much. Do not blame too much on the system, because system also is depending on something else. Right? But yes, try to push it hard, that if it is there, I will be able to deliver things better. Right? Keep on pushing it in all possible ways, but that should not make your child suffer in the class.
Yeah,
that should be the ultimate thing.
Absolutely, so even I was watching some similar sort of video on Facebook where a particular teacher in a state was using mobile phone and a projector connected to showcase in the class. So that was a wonderful thing which I saw, that how you turn an adversity into an opportunity, that a teacher always transforms in one or the other way, which Brings me to the last question from our attendees, from the participants, to Jaspreet ma'am. And I believe we had a very healthy conversation on this particular question. Still they're asking, I'd like to head to ma'am. Measurable learning outcomes is where technology assists. Gathering data points of a student learning journey is utmost important. How are we ensuring intervention required after fetching the data and analyzing the data of a student, ma'am?
The analytics is the main part that has actually helped us out in technology. And when we talk about the analysis, it should not be like we understand very well what is the problem, but then we have to identify why and how. That is very, very important when you are talking about the data collection and data analytics. I know a child of my class is not, the entire class suppose is not doing, has not excelled well in one of the topics of social studies maybe. But then just a second. But then when you take up more queries, like more questions, like why this has happened, how this can be helpful to us, I think that would be very, very important and would help us out. And data analytics do play a very, very important role in the technological transformation that and it is actually helping us out with the major challenges that we are facing.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Yes, Poonam ma'am, would you like to add?
There are two types of interventions that happen in data analytics. One is auto-suggestion. There are some basic conceptual questions that children ask, and they want that to understand it well. So there is an auto-suggestion. Second thing is when the teacher realizes in a particular class of 40, after doing a particular test, that a certain concept is not clear with, say, a 20% or 30%, rather than teaching the full chapter again, she addresses only that part of the chapter. And over a period of time also, it's easy to identify the aptitude of a child and his proficiency in a particular subject, and the child can be channeled accordingly. So the question is good. That data is not complete at the level of data gathering or analytics. What is required is right intervention, where the school leaders have to put it in their own curriculum approach. That how have you intervened in it? So that's where the change happens.
Done, ma'am. Thank you very much for adding up to this wonderful question. So I am very sure that all the participants, all the panelists would have enjoyed this very healthy discussion about this particular topic. And I'm very sure once we'll be going back, we will be adding a lot more wherever we are. So to wrap up this, there were certain pointers which I like to just summarize. First of the main things which I have learned out of this, do add your pointers if you like to add. One, it's very important to add technology to uplift ourselves in the way we are doing it into the respective classrooms. Then the positive change there, we are bridging the gap with the technology we are having to ensure all the students are having the same platform, which as a teacher we are helping them out with. Empowering teachers with effective practices, where they're sharing practical techniques for utilizing the technology effectively. And reimagining. So right now, whenever we think a particular teacher in a class talking and teaching the particular topics. Now, reimagining the classroom through technology, where we are exploring digital content and personalized learning, where we are also leading through data-driven insights. So I like to thank all of you. I believe Shweta ma'am would like to add anything.
So what Poonam was telling is, even the last time when we were talking, is data analysis. So it's very much important what kind of data we are getting, from where are we getting these data, and how are we analyzing these data, and how are we going to intervene this data. So that's very much important. But the best part I like in Extramarks also is you have a complete storage of the student's journey, where he did well, where he had to work on, to give complete data for the teacher, for the parents, for the school also. For example, my kid didn't do well in math. So you're going to give me a proper report that, he has to work well in math. So having these tools like, Extramarks, where you're going to give us a beautiful report, and each and every student, not one report, it's a dynamic report. So even after every test, it's going to change, the analysis is going to change. So what I can do is I can work on the child also dynamically over the process. So this is something that I really love in Extramarks, and these kind of data is what that we have to look into. See, what happened in 1947 is good, but what is going to happen now, what's happening immediately, if I get to know as and when the process is going on, right? So I can treat and I can, dictate my plan of actions at the earliest, and, I can give better results than to plan for damage control. So this kind of things is something that only technology can give, because we cannot analyze data every now and then. And for technology, it's an automated process. So for us, it will, if we inject it to this, it'll help us give the best for children, because ultimately everyone are here. I mean, all 300 plus panelists plus 300 participants are only here. So we learn something from today's conversation, and our only aim is what best can we give for the student. So with that aim, I think we have to go through processes like this. We have to start enabling us with platforms like you, which has always been the best, and it will definitely be the best.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Shweta
you.
ma'am. I'm so grateful to our panelists for sharing us with their thoughts, with their insights, and to all the participants as well. I know we are a little overboard with time, Ro, but I believe it was such a nice and healthy discussion which we had, where we all have something to take back home with each one of us. So thank you very much for giving your time to us, to this wonderful Elevate series. Coming to our participants, please don't be discouraged if we have not addressed all your queries yet. We will keep them in mind and get back to you with the answers. We look forward to seeing you all very, very soon in the next Elevate series. Please do share your feedback with us for the session. The attendees who have participated will also receive a certificate of participation from our side. So stay tuned on our website, which is www.extramarks.com/EMElevate for this particular recording of this webinar and details of our upcoming Elevate series. Thank you very much for giving your time, and a wonderful, wonderful experience for giving us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Apurva, for conducting a good conversation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.